Good morning, and welcome to our daily Devo on this Monday morning, June the 13th. Today's Devo is entitled The Revival Psalm, quoting from Psalm 85, verses 10 and 11. Love and faithfulness meet together, righteousness and peace kiss each other. Faithfulness springs forth from the earth, and righteousness looks down from heaven. I'm keenly interested in one particular aspect of the history of Christianity, and that's the periodic occurrence of revivals and spiritual awakenings. Many such moments have occurred, and we're badly in need of another today, to which I will say, Amen, Mr. Morgan. In my book, 100 Bible Verses That Made America, I tell about the revivals that shaped the United States of America. Revivals often occur in many places at once. The great 1857 revival in America was followed by a similar revival in Ireland in 1859. On Saturday, June the 4th, 1859, the Banner of Ulster newspaper reported about the spiritual excitement that filled Ulster, the epicenter of the Irish revival, sending great crowds into the streets seeking a relationship with Christ. A tangible sense of the presence of God brooded over the city like a heavy cloud. The reporter wrote, quote, "Yesterday evening, the excitement and anxiety to be present during the religious worship was almost indescribable. 7:30 was the hour appointed for the opening of the church, but long before that time the entire neighborhood was so densely thronged that the streets became almost impassable. The building would not have contained 1/5 of the number who sought admittance. A strong body of the local police was stationed in the vicinity to prevent disorder and annoyance, but little occurred of this sort." Unquote. It's estimated that 100,000 people came to Christ during this time. Sinners cried out for mercy. Families went for days without sleeping. Businesses closed down. The streets were filled with weeping, singing, praying, and preaching, and the newspapers covered little else. Psalm 85 provides a biblical pattern for praying for another revival. The writer first acknowledged God's forgiveness in verses 1 through 3. Then he prayed, "Restore us again, God. Will you not revive us again, that your people may rejoice in you?" Verses 4 and 6. Prayed them many times. In response, God sent forth his love and faithfulness like two old friends meeting in the streets. The blessings of God were poured out. The Lord will indeed give what is good, and our land will yield its harvest. Verse 12. How we need for the love and faithfulness of God to again meet together in the streets of our cities, like two friends igniting another great awakening for our land. Learn to pray as the psalmist did. Restore us again, God. Will you not revive us again, that your people may rejoice in you? Psalm 85, verses 4 and 6. He closes with a quote from Jonathan Edwards. "Disconsolate souls among us have been revived and brought to rest in God by a sweet sense given of his grace and faithfulness." Jonathan Edwards. I have read so many different books on the subject of revival, just reportings on it, as well as how to have it again. But one of the things that almost all of them, as I can remember in my readings over the years, something that almost all of them had in common was a group of people whose hearts were so burdened by the reality that we needed to be revived, that God's people had gone away from him, that they were no longer searching his face, no longer looking to make his kingdom the kingdom that they give themselves over to, that Christ no longer was Lord of their lives. And in deep burden on them, they met together and they prayed. And they prayed. Nowadays, we just complain. Nowadays, we blame the unbelievers for all the problems in our communities. Could it be instead that we need to look in the mirror and realize that our testimony, the example of our lives, are not impacting our neighbors, our co-workers? Could it be? Revive us again, O Lord. In the midst of your wrath, remember mercy. Many prayers to be prayed for us, for the church, and for the world. Blessings to you today.